Good afternoon. An ever-expanding fire continues to burn near Los Alamos.
This is the Las Conchas Fire. They're holding a briefing now at the Los Alamos airport. Let's go to it now live. It's in.
Thank you all for coming here today. Obviously, we'd rather greet you on a better occasion. Just to update you, we had put in place a voluntary evacuation last night at 8 o'clock. And what that means is that people are not required to leave, but may leave if the smoke is bothering them or they're being cautious. So that voluntary evacuation is staying in place at this time. We do not at this point believe that a mandatory evacuation is necessary from either the town side or White Rock. I'm going to let the fire chief and the police chief give you some updates on the fire and then our emergency preparedness preparations, and then we would stand for questions.
Good afternoon, all. This is a tragic fire for a lot of folks. There's been quite a few homes lost in the surrounding areas, not in Los Alamos. As of this morning, it was 44,000 acres. It started yesterday about 1:30 in the Los Conchos area. And the sad part about it, it moved all that in one day. Last night we had some of the most active fire I've seen in my career, and during a burnout along State Route 4 to protect the county and the lab, that worked. And they were able to get a black line in. As you can see, the weather is changing again on us. The wind was coming out of the north, which helped us. Now it's moving to the south-southwest, and will blow the fire into some unburnt areas. The biggest area of risk is the area that is west of the fire, the point of origin, the area toward Cochise Mesa, the area toward Jemez Springs. We are preparing for the fire to go any direction. This swirling wind, we don't know which way the wind's going to go until it hits here. We're seeing 60-mile-an-hour winds at some time. The evacuation is in case it does move into the town site. We do not see that happening, but we cannot eliminate that potential. So we must be ready to react to it. We have crews on the fire since the fire started. The Forest Service here, Bandolier. We have crews from out of state. Right now, air assets are grounded because of the wind, but we're hoping to get some slurry bombers up and some helicopter support to work on this fire. This fire is not going to go out today. This fire is going to be here a while. I do not think it's going to be a wallow fire, but it has potential to double, triple its size. I hope it doesn't. We've already lost a lot of homes in the Cochise area and the tent area, and I don't want to see it happen again. Our hearts go out to those people. They had minutes to evacuate. They evacuated with the shirt on their back and left everything they owned in their homes. That's a sad way to lose things. And I'll turn over the evacuation to Chief Torpy.
Thanks, Dad. Good afternoon. Let me start out by saying that this was said by the fire chief and the county administrator. We are still in a voluntary-only evacuation. The most important thing at this time is for folks to know how they can get information. The county's 311 center is available for updated information. Anyone wanting to get information, we're urging them to call the 311 line. Just simply dialing 311 will get them direct information that is provided straight from the EOC to the operators in that area to let them know the up-to-minute information available on this fire and any necessities regarding evacuation. The voluntary evacuation has been going smoothly. We ask folks that if they do choose to voluntarily evacuate, that they take with them the belongings that they need with the intent that they're not able to come back to the community if we should go to a full operational mandatory evacuation. So they should not leave with the intent to be able to come back immediately. Secondly, if we do have to do an evacuation, a mandatory evacuation, it'll be a staged evacuation that's being coordinated very closely with the fire department so that we ensure that the residents in the most endangered areas are off the mesa first. So we would ask that when that happens, it will happen by using our county's reverse 911 system, which will phone residents at their home phones, or if they've registered with us through a cell phone, email, BlackBerry, or other means, they will get a message from us. We will tell them when and where and how to evacuate. We ask that they follow those directions explicitly so that we can ensure a safe evacuation if necessary. We are supported today in the community by just hundreds of resources. I feel very confident that if we do need to make that decision, with the 80-plus National Guardsmen that we have on the mesa staged already and 100 more that are available to us with a phone call, we can make this evacuation, if necessary, very orderly if people follow the instructions as given. The last thing is we do have and we are opening just so that if folks are evacuating voluntarily, the Santa Clara Resort Center will be available for voluntary evacuees that don't want to go to a hotel or other means. We do ask if they have family off of the hill or someone that they know that they can go to, please leave those evacuation centers available for the folks who won't have another way of evacuating or another place to go to. Thank you very much.
That was some of the prepared statements we had. Are there any questions we could answer?
Any idea how many structures have burned at this point?
Well, none in Los Alamos County, so we don't have a good handle on it. There were in Tent Rock structures burned, and on the way to Tent Rock is my understanding.
Cochise Mesa, Tent Rock, Dixon, the Dixon Apple Orchard. I would say a guesstimate of a total of 30, at least 30 structures, maybe more.
Is the orchard still there?
The orchards there, just some of the outbuildings were burned, and it looked like a couple of homes.
Any of the trees? A lot of our viewers have been asking us about the orchard trees.
I was in the air and it was pretty smoky, but it didn't appear so. It looked like they were protected, they were well hydrated, so it didn't look like it from the air.
Did you say 30 structures altogether?
At least, well, that's the minimum. At least 30 structures. It was so smoky over in our air flight that it was hard to see all the structures, but I'd say a minimum 30 and probably a lot more.
And these are structures that are, it's undetermined whether or not these are homes or...
Most of them were homes.
I just would want to add, we have a lot of nervous citizens, and I understand completely. My home's sitting up here, too. And what I'd like to say is simply, we will update through news releases as soon as we know anything. If you don't hear anything different, it's because things haven't changed. If things change, we will inform you immediately. So do not call 911 numbers, do not call 311 unless you have specific needs that you need addressed. General information is out on press releases, and it will be streaming constantly. KRSN 1610 is the emergency radio station, so please listen to those sources and don't call in just because you don't see things changing. We haven't forgotten. We will update immediately when anything changes.
What is the criteria for declaring a mandatory evacuation? Where does the fire need to get to a certain point, or how do you make that decision?
We have certain triggers that we will pull, and that is basically if the ski hill is threatened, the fire jumps the fire line, and the winds are such that it's moving across a ridge. We have one unburnt ridge, and so if it's in that fuel and moving fast, we will cause a mandatory evacuation. Other than that, we're in pretty good shape. There could be spotting. We just don't know what's going to happen with the wind, with the weather, and so we have to play it by ear, but we do have a certain number of triggers that allow us to say, okay, it's time to do it. And that is based on how long it's going to take us to evacuate the town site. I'm sorry?
How about the lab? Has the fire crossed into land?
I'll let Mr. Marcus speak to that.
We have no fire currently on the lab property. Obviously, our priority is to protect a national asset here, protect the facility, but also we're concerned about the welfare of our 10,000 plus employees. We're keeping them notified periodically, both through LabNet. We have call-in numbers, but right now you can see the incredible cooperation here at the federal, the state, the local level. Last night we had Governor Martinez here. Today we have Representative Lujan. It's clear that this is a priority effort for the government, and there's a good reason for that. This laboratory's been here 60 plus years. We intend to be here quite a bit longer, thanks to the efforts of the people here.
You know how long the lab will remain closed for work?
That's TBD. We have activated our emergency operations center. We did that yesterday evening at 5 o'clock. We rely on the experts like fire chief, and we have our own fire expertise. And so we status periodically.
Good afternoon. This is News 13 at noon, and you've been listening to a live news conference at the Los Alamos Airport, recapping what has gone on at the Las Conchas Fire, which has just exploded over the last 24 hours.
Right now it is at 44,000 acres. There have been 30 structures burned. The lab is closed today, and no word on when the lab might reopen. There are not mandatory evacuations in Los Alamos and also in White Rock, no mandatory evacuations. Those are voluntary. But if you do leave, you are being told to take everything that you need as if you are not coming back.
The number to call in Los Alamos is the 311 non-emergency line. If you have any questions, make sure you use that if you have a situation that you need addressed.